All right, I'd like to call this Standing Committee of the Public Safety Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Ron Dunwoody,
Here.
Kurt Harkness,
Here.
Gary Payson Jr.
Here.
All right, I guess we have two items for discussion today. First is discussion and possible decision regarding personal appearance standards. Second, discussion and possible decision regarding police department policy update, officer-involved shootings and deaths number 306. So I guess we'll start it off with the chief here today.
Thanks for taking the time to meet with me today. Hopefully you had a little bit of an opportunity to review the memo that I put together. So I'm just going to touch base on this a little bit just to kind of cover where we're at. So currently the police department does not allow any facial hair other than a mustache, as well as any tattoos that you currently have to be covered. Now, the city embarked on a climate survey, I'll call it, back in the fall. And one of the subjects that was brought up during that survey to the employees was, I guess, a desire to be allowed or permitted to have facial hair other than the mustache, as well as to display certain tattoos. So I think it's personally, I believe it's a balancing act, and that's what I think we need to get your feedback or opinion on as well, because in the end, it's how you want a police officer to present to the public that they're serving. Obviously, there are certain challenges. More and more agencies are opening up or lessening their restrictions on tattoos and facial hair. For instance, like the sheriff's office now does permit, state patrol permits with certain restrictions. And so I guess what we're looking for, or what I'm looking for, it's already been presented to the Police and Fire Commission, who is open to further discussion and consideration on it. But I'm looking also at what do you as a council, how do you want your officers to present? So that's why we're here today.
So what are the guidelines that the county has implemented? Do you know?
Yes, I believe county, and this is kind of some of the draft language that I had shared with some of the Police and Fire Commission earlier, was nothing below the wrist, so nothing on the hand, nothing on the neck or above. And then obviously some of the obvious ones, nothing that's obscene, offensive, those types of language.
Okay. And facial hair?
Facial hair, they do allow beards.
Just normal beard, no restrictions on how long?
Yes, there's always going to be restrictions. What we
Okay.
have been looking at, I think what the sheriff's office is a 1/2 inch in length, and it has to be consistent.
Most
Okay.
of the places are consistent with that, with a 1/2 inch, because it's easy to keep trimmed.
Mhm.
It looks better, and safety reasons too, if you're in an altercation.
Mhm.
And same with the goatee.
Yeah.
Right.
I have no problem with
I don't either.
improving that.
Times have changed.
Mhm.
And I have no problem with the full sleeve for tattoos, like you said, as long as they are not offensive at any time.
Right.
Which can be hard to be determined if they already have a pre-existing one, but they meet all the qualifications otherwise, then I would say there'd have to be,
It's got to be covered.
they have to be covered with full sleeve shirt at that point.
So that is, and that's one of the things that I am also exploring right now while we're going down this road, is I think even certain tattoos, if they're, let's say, discriminatory in nature, I want to know if we can even prohibit anyone from having anywhere on their body regardless. Again, a swastika. Do we want an image of an officer with a swastika, even somewhere that's not visible, but they post it on their Facebook, their personal Facebook page or something like that? Do you want an image of that in the public? Those were, I think, further consideration that we need to have with legal counsel, whether we can prohibit that. But if it's up to me, if you have that, you're not getting hired.
Yeah. I would want to understand more from the legal
The
perspective.
legal ramifications are on that now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, couldn't that be an easy,
You got to scoot up so you're on your mic.
couldn't that easily be against their First Amendment rights, whether we like the swastika or not. I mean, to say that, I don't know, it just sounds to me that I'm not for it. I mean, I'm just trying to, because I've asked a bunch of people the same thing about what do you think's appropriate? You know, it's like you don't want to see somebody walking up to your car with a freaking tattoo over half of their face. You know, because first question is are they a cop? Should I pull my gun out first? You know, and we don't want any of that happening.
Correct.
But now the other side of the tattoo thing is, and I'll give it to the women, is I guess there's a trend where they don't have eyebrows and they have them tattooed on. Well, is that because it's already on the human face and it's being replaced? Should that be written in as part of what we accept? Because otherwise, according to the black and white, you couldn't hire a woman who had tattooed eyebrows on her.
And that's an excellent point that was kind of discussed at the Police and Fire Commission level, was this, the same example as far as like the perfect eyebrows, I'll call it. You know, I guess that is a trend. So is that something that we want to take in consideration? And I haven't came across any of that language yet in any policy that I've referenced. I don't know. Casey has looked at some as well. We would have to do a little bit more research on that. But I understand what you're saying. And along those same lines, I need to get an understanding, because the Police and Fire Commission was even, I think, acceptable above on the neck. So what is your opinion?
I'd want it
Neck.
below. I don't want to see it up here.
I don't want to see it above the neckline.
Okay.
You know, if they have to wear a
If they gotta wear a
or
turtleneck, that's
something,
crazy.
if that would cover it,
Yeah.
that's one thing also.
Okay.
That, my thought would be, down here, so you could wear a t-shirt like I'm wearing right now and not see anything.
Okay.
As always, if it's 95 degrees outside and you're wearing a turtleneck, now we gotta worry about the person passing out.
Right.
So,
And as
So
far
that,
as, I'm
that
sorry,
helps,
go ahead.
that helps as far as the guidance, then I'll go
Right.
back to the Police and Fire.
As far as
Commission.
the beard, I would, if we do adopt that policy, nothing below what would be the bottom of the jawline as you're looking. No, I don't want to see it going down the neck either, still present, it's an appearance thing.
Okay. So getting back to Alderman Harkness's point though, I guess, what about like the eyebrow?
See, and one of the things that I was told was it was stated, something that was already existing on the human face. Because if somebody wants to tattoo on a mustache or a beard, they could do, because it would be facial hair that would be on the human face. They could, you wouldn't want to knock out a perfectly good police officer because he had a tattooed mustache. But it's more what's already exists. That was the wording, already existing on the human face. And I know that's gray, but because of the example I brought up, who's to say that in 5 years people aren't, I can't grow a beard that goes, is full or whatever, and who knows what people will do. But do we want to keep qualified individuals off the rolls? I don't know.
I think from the eyebrows, we need more understanding, what
Yeah,
others have looked
yeah,
at.
that little out there with the beard thing. Beard
And I know
mustache.
you've looked, I would say we continue to look and evaluate, see what other jurisdictions are doing. And we have 50 states in the union, and there's a whole bunch of other ones. I'm sure there's somewhere, but I wouldn't make that the priority.
No.
Hit the 80-20 rule. Take care of 80%, and we can always look at the other stuff later. What's gonna satisfy, improving our recruitment, keeping people on, and the questions that they had, the beards and the tattoos with the arms and below the neck to start with, and also none on the face right now. We'll continue to research it would be.
Well, certainly a great place to start.
Right.
Because that's where most of the country is now, right? 80% of the country.
I think it's still trending. I would still say there are still a number of agencies that completely prohibit, whether that be the California Highway Patrol, LAPD, a lot of well-known professional organizations still prohibit completely. So I think the trend is going the other direction to allow, but there's still a number of agencies that prohibit tattoos. So that will help give me some guidance to continue this research. And then just so you know what the language that I'm looking at as far as, let's say if it is a permitted tattoo, it would still go before, I'll call it a committee to bless the tattoo, whether you get it, the blessing before or after, whatever that may be. But that committee makeup right now we're looking at would be a member from police department management, a member from the association at the police department that's not the member that's looking to get the approval, the city administrator or their designee, whether that be Casey or someone else from HR, a member from the police and fire commission, and then also the mayor or their designee.
Okay.
So it'd be
Yeah.
a five-person member to say yes or no.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's a good cross-section.
Yeah.
If someone went and decided to get a tattoo that maybe wasn't acceptable on their own, then the option would be they have to keep it covered.
Yes.
If it came to light, they just have to keep it covered. It's not,
With the exception whether we can prohibit certain tattoos completely.
And again, there's always your internal disciplinary, because they'd be violating the policy by getting it done without prior approval.
Correct.
Which you'd already have the blessing of the association on anyhow, if they're gonna be signing off on any policy change like this.
The association doesn't sign off on the policy, so just the
They would have an
council.
understanding though,
Sure.
so they're gonna have the representative, for any type of review, they would.
Right, and they
Then
could
they
always
should not have it.
grieve the matter.
But if they're doing it, they're already getting the policy before it takes effect, they'll have a chance to, all the officers will have a chance to understand it. So then there should be no ambiguity, but as far as what the policy is and what the guidelines are and
Right,
what they have to do.
right. Okay,
Okay?
that helps with my guidance, and then I'll be back with an updated draft for you to look at here in the near future,
Okay, sounds good.
okay?
Any other further discussion on that topic?
No.
No further discussion?
Is there anything that we have to vote on or anything, or is this just a
No.
discussion?
I don't think so, I was just more, for me to
Feedback.
get guidance from
Yeah,
you before
okay.
I started to put the final work together.
Okay, good, sounds good.
Move on to the second item on the agenda then, Chief.
So, this still is, I would say, a work in progress. So we obviously already have an officer involved, shootings and death policy. As you know, state law requires an outside agency to investigate any of those situations, whether that be a pursuit that results in a death or great bodily harm, or an officer-involved shooting, let's say. So there is an update. We're looking at that update right now, and there are two other policies that are referenced within this that have also been modified. So this is still a work in progress, so I'm not ready to present the final for your consideration. But I did want to also bring this to your attention that we did have our department in-service training yesterday, and DCI from the state was there, who traditionally we use for the outside agency to investigate our officer-involved critical incidents. And so they just provided a training to officers kind of what to expect when they come in, so that it had been some time since they presented that training to us. So with all the new people that we have on board right now, we thought it would be beneficial, and the special agent that came did a great job yesterday, and kind of shared what to expect when they come in and how it kind of works on their behalf. So just more of an update right now, and I'll be back with you again once those other policies are updated.
Okay,
All right.
sounds good.
Fantastic. Any other further discussion on that? Just for ratification, how are we doing on hiring and filling any openings?
So we have a conditional offer out to one of the individuals that is on the eligibility list. They are undergoing their physical testing right now, with the hopes that we'll still get them into the June Academy out in Sparta at Western Technical College. The state has agreed to, or sponsor them through that academy, so that means that they'll reimburse the city for lodging, almost all of the lodging costs, as well as all of the meals and the registration costs. So it'll just be a slight portion that won't be covered for the lodging. That's a little bit over the state amount. So we were fortunate. You may not know, there's not many academies that are offered during the summer. Fox Valley is one that was full. Western was one that still had some openings that we were able to get a spot in. And then there was another up north, I want to say, whatever the one up by Chippewa is, but that'd been even farther. So, yeah, we hope to get one on board here in June. We're working a background investigation on another candidate on the eligibility list. And then we are ending taking applications this weekend on Sunday, with testing next Sunday, actually. So we still have one other spot that we don't have any names on this current list that we're looking to create a new list for.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else that anyone would care to bring up while we're here?
It's gotta be on the agenda.
What's your motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies, everyone, for showing up.